us, a long time is not playing a gig for a month and a half. So for us to be able to play the songs we played a month and a half and pull them off fairly well,
that's a miracle.
That's a miracle, a personal success, unequal to anything. So it's like reaching the pearly gates in advance. So
let's say a long time is more than a year.
Or you know, well, in that sense, we have been playing one track we haven't been playing on the gigs, which is Rebel Yell by Billy Idol.
Okay.
But I'm not sure whether we're playing it today.
Okay.
We just rehearsed it for band. We're kind of playing it maybe. Oslo went down really well.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad. I mean, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, a lot of people wrote about the response when we played England.
Yeah,
that was Wembley.
exactly.
And one thing people really easily forget is that if there's 60,000 people and there's about 1,000 who don't like us in the front row, obviously that's going to show for the people who have the, since they are working for a magazine, they have the opportunity to use VIP passes. They don't have to queue like people, and they get the best seats of the house. So they can obviously see that. So it wasn't that bad, not at all. You know, we played a lot of worse gigs where people have hated us. So Metallica, that was okay. It was a challenge, and yet we hated. But gently, at the end of the day, you've got to remember that Metallica sold about 100 million records, and there's another 100 million pimple-faced teenage metal fans in the world. They're a big crossover band. A lot of different kinds of people like it, and as at least, I guess everybody in the band has been grown up listening to their music and Metallica was important at some point. So, A, it felt an honor, and B, we considered that through playing a few tracks before, then maybe we get the opportunity of you know, reaching out to a lot of people who've never heard of us, and maybe getting new angles, as a lot of people do have an image of us through magazines or whatever that we're a pop band or that we're straightforward goth band or whatever, which we obviously are. But we don't. I don't read a lot of press, not too much, you know, and everybody's got their opinion. I remember really well that we got a really shit review of a Finnish festival that was like 3 years ago, and it was written by a friend. Or, yeah, an acquaintance, novel. And at the end of the day, I heard that the reason why he wrote such a shitty review was the fact that he had down 2 bottles of vodka and he couldn't get to the VIP backstage area with his girlfriend. So that's the reason why he humbled us in the press. So there's a lot of stories like that as well.
So the moral lesson is that we should have let Nalle and his girlfriend to the VIP backstage area, so we would have been pummeled by a test.
Yeah, we would have, yeah.
Next time, remember.
Yeah.
Gonna sort Nalle out in a more spectacular fashion, like we did his boots, for example.
Okay, so you've just...
Nalle was at the top of our priority list.
Number 1.
Well, yeah, we do care about that, but everything does leak.
Yeah.
And it leaks from the pressing plants, usually, or with the advanced copies or whatever. It doesn't hurt us so much since it's live DVD. But obviously, if we spent like hundreds of thousands of dollars putting the whole thing together, and we started working on it back in 2005, it would be nice if we could recoup rather than owe a lot of money to the record company because people are stealing from us. Because it's definitely not making us millions. We're not going to be on even keel. We owe the record company a lot of money because of that. So that's what fans are doing. So they're just making our debt grow and grow. So thank you. Well, the plan was the band to get bigger, but unfortunately it never happened. So we got to start eating to make it at least physical. There's not a lot of big venues in Helsinki. You know, there's been a lot of different discussions about it, but there's also a lot of bands like Nightwish and Sonata Arctica and then venue called Nostori, who started using the same idea. So when they realized the fact that a lot of people were traveling to Helsinki for Helldown, they started playing their own gigs around that time. And we were asking those people and those bands if they want to be a part of Helldown, so we would make it a big family-oriented, you know, festival type of thing. But they just wanted to get their own money's worth. Because we were asking Nightwish to play and stuff like that, but they didn't. They only wanted to play their own gig 2 days after. So it's, you know, I do understand. Greed is very powerful.
Things are not what they seem and get there.
Memorable or best?
It's up to you. Let's say best. Let's say best.
Let's say this occurred to me just, you know, when we were talking about now. I'd say defining his boots was some kind of a milestone.
Complicated of a story.
No, it's not. It's just, you know, then you kind of realize that in private life and through that you realize that in music you can do many things.
So what is the story then?
Yeah.
No, I just don't want to go to details. I mean, Nolle doesn't hold any grudge, but, you know, we still don't have to go to details because perhaps he doesn't know all the details.
So Nolle is a journalist in Finland, and we shat and puked and pissed in his boots.
And come.
Oh, nice.
So that's
And our first keyboard player, Antto, came in then.
He's sponsored.
So I told you, I didn't want to tell you this, but, you know, you had to milk it out of me.
Yeah.
Literally. Milk it out of Antto.
And or memorable or best.
There's a lot of good moments.
I realize it's a bit hard to, you know.
Yeah.
It should be maybe like number 5 or 4.
Well, you know, the gig in San Francisco last year was really good. We played the Warfield, and it was a good gig, and that's very memorable since it's a nice club and it was great. And no, it wasn't Seattle, San Francisco, and so that's memorable. So it's little tiny bits and pieces more than big events. If we talk about big events, then it would be recorded the first demo, signing, releasing the first album, getting the first gold album, then maybe getting the first gold album in Germany, and then maybe getting the first gold album in America. If we're talking about career-wise, you know, the highlights in that sense, which are visible. But I do consider the highlights be a bit more personal. And it is a band that's been seen a lot of good, you know, up and down sides of the industry as well as life in general.
Okay.
With well, the goal is to play the gigs well during the summer, and after that, no one knows. No one knows. It's probably best. That we've had a lot of plans considering the future for the past 10 years. So it's good to be kind of like have an open end to this possible fairy tale.
Our manager is terrible when it comes to psychology of the band. It's fucking horrible. He crashes like
He's
morale.
great with money and contracts, but he
You know, I
doesn't
felt pretty
understand
okay when I
psychology.
came here, you know, before we started this trip, but now I just feel totally miserable.
Oh,
Like I
really?
might as well go home. And that's thanks to Seppo. Seppo, our manager.
Seppo makes me nervous.
And he steals money.
Especially when Seppo is behind me.
Shall we go on?
I can't do interview when Seppo is in the room. Can you go and stand out in the rain?